Okay, so this week's big story on the India story. Foreign universities will now be allowed to set up campuses in India. The University Grants Commission has unveiled new draft norms in line with the new education policy to facilitate this. This is being hailed as a turning point for higher education in India, a move that could allow your Harvards and Oxfords and Stanfords to come and open up campuses right here in India. For starters, only foreign universities that are ranked 500 or above globally can apply to set up a campus like this in India. The institution can evolve their own admissions process and criteria in admitting both Indian and foreign universities. It's their choice. They will also have the freedom to devise their own fee structures and will not face the same fee caps that apply to Indian universities. However, the UGC does say that the fees should be reasonable and transparent. Now, what is reasonable? Can it go all the way up to that $70,000 that many American universities charge? Well, we'll have to see what actually happens here. The university will also have autonomy to recruit faculty and staff as they wish and decide the qualifications, the salary structure and other conditions of service, so long as the qualifications of the faculty hired in India are at par with those hired in the main campus. Now, the universities have to ensure that foreign faculty appointed to teach in India will stay at the campus for a reasonable period. Crucially, the guidelines do state that this operation of the foreign university cannot be contrary to the sovereignty, integrity and security of India or go against India's friendly relation with foreign states. Many prescriptions that are there, actually it's there, restrictions of freedom of the speech in the constitution as well, but what will universities make of this? That's something we're going to be discussing. There is a history to all of this. In 1995, India had introduced its first piece of legislation to draw in foreign universities, but that bill was aborted. 2005, there was a draft law that only went up to the cabinet stage. The most recent attempt was the 2010 Foreign Education Institution Bill, but it did not pass muster in Parliament. Will it be different this time? Well, there is one major difference that perhaps sets the new draft guidelines apart from previous efforts. Up until now, any satellite campus of foreign universities in India were obliged to invest and bring the profit back into India itself. They could not send funds to their parent bodies. That has now been allowed. If this new policy works, it could be a game changer. Yes, we know the IITs and the IIMs, but let's face it, India does not have too many universities in the top 500. And also, we've heard about those 99% cutoffs would make it virtually impossible to get into a top college, which means that India's brightest and best often have to go abroad to look for education. That takes top talent away from India's workforce. In 2022, for example, 650,000 Indian students went abroad to study. Those students contributed $30 billion to the economies of other countries. Money which potentially could have been spent right here in India as well. Also, once abroad, many of these students settle down abroad, leading to that infamous brain drain we've heard so much about. Now, if this new policy works, then students in India will finally have access to world-class education right here in the country without having to pay the very high transport and living costs abroad. And finally, I know I'm making this sound really good. There are catches. I'm going to come up with that. Importantly, this could also set the stage for cutting-edge research, work in AI or biotech or space. Right now, that's not happening to that same extent out here. It could happen here, and if that happens, those universities can then be linked to startup hubs, and that could unleash a new wave of innovation in the Indian economy.